Hi there, it's Cheryl Cran, and thank you for joining me for this week's video. And I promised you that I would be sharing answers to frequently asked questions. And a lot of these questions come through in my keynote presentations, but also through our coaching and consulting services that we have. A lot of times there's common challenges, common situations that people are facing. And one of the things that I hear often is, why is my boss so difficult? Why is my coworker so difficult? You know, why is it so difficult to deal with people? The technology, I understand, the dealing with people is always difficult. And you know what? Frankly, it comes down to we're all human beings. We all have different personalities. And that's the cool thing. And if you've done any kind of personalities work, you'll know that there's typically 4 key different personalities. And whether you've done Myers-Briggs, DISC, what's your color, whatever it might be, the point is really understanding at a deep core the different personalities and learning to value the attributes of the personalities that are opposite to yours. So for example, in my books, I talk about the 4 Ds, the driver, the dancer, the deflector, and the detailer. And if you're a driver personality, it's likely that somebody who is a deflector, who wants to please people, is going to drive you crazy. Because drivers are all about, got things to do, got places to go, got people to meet, no time for anything else. If you're a deflector, your main value is people. And so deflector's main phrase is, why can't everybody just get along? And the driver's phrase is, let's do it and do it now. If you're a socializer or a dancer, your phrase is, let's do it and have fun. And if you're a detailer, your phrase is, let's do it and do it right. So just knowing those key components at a very deep level can help you really appreciate when people are difficult. And that's why I called today's video, Thank You for Being Difficult. Because you know what? Whether you want to admit it or not, the people that are the most difficult, and it might take a stretch for you to get here, but typically the people that are most difficult have the most to teach us. Think about this. Think about the people that you have to deal with on a repeated, effort. You might have had to say the same thing over and over again. And by the way, definition of insanity, same thing over and over again, expecting new and different results. And maybe that person's simply teaching us that it's time to take a new street. Maybe we have to take a different approach. Maybe we've got to learn a new way of communicating or a new way of approaching that person. Quick example for myself, being a driver personality, I'm a driver dancer, is that, I move fast, I talk fast, I want to get results and get things done. And in my early career, dealing with deflectors, those people that want to talk about their weekend and they want to talk about their family, used to drive me crazy. And I had to learn early in my career that, you know what, I've got to make friends of this personality, because otherwise I'm going to short circuit my future career as a leader. And I had many, many good mentors who told me the same thing. They said, you have to make friends with the deflectors. They are the influencers in the workforce around being likable, around people coming to them with their concerns and such. So this quick example is, I had a coworker. She was actually my assistant. Her name was Leila, and she was a true deflector, and she'd want to tell me about her weekend, but it would take her forever to get to what she was trying to say. And I had gone on a course that I got sent to, deservedly so, on how to be a better communicator. And I realized that not only was I a driver, but that I was highly aggressive. And so I came back and I said to Leila, I realized I must be difficult to work with. And she kind of went, uh-huh. And I said, look, I'm willing to sort of slow down, be a nicer person, but could you do me a favor? Could you think of what you want to say and come back to me with maybe 3 sentences? She had a sense of humor. She came back to me and said, Cheryl, customer lobby. So she used 3 words. And that was the beginning of a phenomenal relationship together. But here's the thing. What I found difficult in her is what I learned most about her. So when I watched her in action, Leila was very congenial, friendly, likable. People liked her. She took the time to care. She asked questions about personal in addition to professional. I learned a lot just by observing her behavior. And yes, she was difficult for a time, but part of that difficultness was my inability to really appreciate her personality. So the reason I called today's segment, Thank You for Being Difficult, is there's a wonderful book. It's actually been out for 20 years, and it's called Thank You So Much for Being a Pain. And at its core, the premise of the book is the people that are the most difficult are here to teach us the most. I leave you with that this week. Perhaps you can check out the book, but start looking at the people around you as they're not there to purposely irritate you or us. They're there to help us learn and grow to our next level. Have a great week.